Hello and welcome to this new video in the SQL content. In this video, we will be learning one of the most important aspects of data warehousing and in SQL called as foreign key. Now, this is just another constraint. However, it is one of the most important constraints after primary key. We did see a lot of constraints in the earlier part of this content, starting from primary key, not null, default, check, etc. But this one is one of the most important after primary key. Before we go into this, we need to understand why we need to use foreign key and what benefits it does. And if you don't use, what happens? So I'm going to be using the joins table that we had in the join concept, the sales tran table and the products table which we created. So we have these two tables. Let us analyze the data. I have a sales tran table wherein it has product keys ranging from 1 to 6, although 5 isn't there. And the products table is also there. We have seen concepts like joins and we have seen fact and dimension concepts as well earlier. And now we come to foreign key. So your understanding about join and fact and dimension is also important over here, which we will reiterate and use. So consider that the products table is a dimension table because it's an products entity table. So I can call it as a master table. And the sales tran is my transaction table, which is a fact table. As you can see, the products table has one record, one ID for each uniquely for each product, whereas the sales trans will have one or more than one record for individual product IDs because it's a transaction table. It is possible that each product might have sold over a number of times. Fine. So now, if I do a left join on these tables by keeping sales tran on the left side, I know verily that since the product 6 is only present in sales tran and not present in products table, hence the right hand side will result in null. Now in such a case, what happens is that this record, which has no parent record or product name, as you can see, is null. So since the products is a dimension table, we'll call it as a parent table and the sales tran is a child table. So in such a situation where I see that there is a record in the transaction table or a fact table which doesn't have any corresponding parent attached to it, such a record is termed as orphan record in data warehousing, simply because there was no parent attached to it. And the only reason why this has occurred is because there is no relationship between both these tables. How can you find out whether there is a relationship or not? The easiest way to do is through SSMS, go to database diagrams, what we have seen earlier, right click, new database diagram. Add both the tables. So let's say products and sales tran. And as you can see, there is no line between both, which is indicated that there is a relationship. We have seen how a relationship looks like when we earlier saw fact and dimension. At that time, I had explained you through this same feature of database diagram. So since there is no relationship, there is no coupling in between both of them. There is no tie-up between both of them, and hence both these tables are independent. You can use them independent and do whatever you want. And that is the only reason why this unstableness has occurred in the database, which shouldn't have occurred if the database was properly designed. So this calls for, for such a situation wherein the foreign key is not defined, it results in orphan records. And this is the threat. So by imposing foreign key, we can overcome this issue. How? Let us understand. So how do you define foreign key? In order to define foreign key, what I'm going to do is, let us take, maybe I can take copies of this table. I can keep both these tables as it is. Let us call this as sales tran 2. Okay, everywhere. And products 2. The first thing that I do is I will want to create the products table. Okay, this is our master table or dimension table. Then I would want to create my sales table or the transaction table or the fact table. All right. So here what I'm going to do is I have to identify how I can create the relationship between both these tables. In order to identify we will just use the same concept of join. There has to be some common column between both, and the data type has to match. So product ID is that particular common key. So in order to do that, all you will do is you can just say over here you can say foreign key. This is how you define. The way you define primary key, you will say foreign key, but you cannot just say foreign key. You have to make a relationship with another table. So you have to reference it. So you continue and say it references which table? It references, sorry, not here. Where are we doing? Yeah, that's fine. This should be sales strand 2. And this references my products table, which is products 2. Don't get confused in the table names. We will stick to the suffix 2. So here I go. I say I want to refer to this table, and inside this table, I want to refer to the product ID column. All right. So this is the way. Now, as soon as I do so, it says foreign key FK whatever. It references invalid products 2 table. All right. Let us see if the products 2 table exists or not. Yes, it does exist. But then why is this error occurring? Let's ignore that error and then continue to create this and see what happens. Now you get the detailed explanation in error. It clearly says there are no primary or candidate keys in the reference table products 2 that match the referencing column list in the foreign key. Could not create constraint or index. Okay, so this calls us for another scenario where the primary key becomes compulsory. We have already seen a lot of reasons why primary key is beneficial and what it does. Today we get another reason. So whenever you want to create a relationship between both the tables, you create the foreign keys always on the fact table side. Okay, mostly, or the child table side. And in order to do that, you have to link the foreign key of the child table with the primary key of the parent table. My parent table is the dimension table products 2, but it doesn't have a primary key, so you will not be able to proceed further. So this becomes a scenario where the primary key is compulsory. So what I'll simply do is I'll drop this table. I say drop table. All right. You could also do an alter table, what we will learn later on, but that's okay for right now. I'll say make this as primary key. Now my master table is created with primary key. Then I'll go up and then create this. This is done. As soon as I do so, let me go to the database diagram. We'll left click and delete, and we'll add our tables, the newly created tables. Okay. At times, you will not be able to see the newly created tables. So you just click on refresh. And now you should be able to see them. Look at that. Products 2 and sales strand. Close it. Now you see that there is a relationship between both. And if you bring the cursor, this is the relationship. And here if you see that key icon, product ID, and it is referring to the product ID over here. All right. So this is what the benefit is, that as soon as you create a foreign key, the compulsion is that there should be primary key on the opposite side, which is the master table side. Only then you can create foreign keys in your child table or any other table. Now this relationship. Now what is the benefit of this relationship is, if you try to insert the record. Now how the insertion happens of the data sets is, you should always first insert data in your dimension table. So I am going to insert these 5 records and I am good to go now. Okay, this should be rather products 2, sorry. So let me insert these 5 records in dimension table products 2. If I run, everything is fine. Now we will go ahead and insert the data into our sales strand table. Okay, so 6 rows are there. Everything is fine. Sales strand table, if you see, this is perfect. And let us bring the join in picture now. Okay, so if you do this, this is how you're getting Why are we getting more records? Let me see. Okay, we should do 2 over here. And let us call this as S. Let us call this as P. S, P. Now see, this is a perfect state. Until now, everything is fine. So we have 5 records in products table, which is the master table, but only out of those 4 IDs are being sold for product. The fifth is not sold. That's perfectly fine. But now, if I try to insert the sixth ID directly into the transaction table and it doesn't have a parent ID in the master table, what will happen? It will not allow you to insert. It clearly states that the insert statement conflicted with the foreign key constraint. The conflict has occurred in AdventureWorks database products 2 table and in the column products 2 table products product ID. Why is this now restricting us? It is restricting us from inserting this ID 6 is because the products table, which is our master table, it doesn't have any ID with the 6 number, with the product ID 6. And if you had to insert that in your transaction table, the record will turn orphan. And hence, to avoid that orphan record scenario, it will restrict you. So the first thing that you'll have to do is you first insert this. It is saying first you insert the number 6 into products 2, only then I'll allow you to enter in the sales turn to table. This is the single most benefit it gives you. However, the prerequisite is that to create the foreign key, the other corresponding table or the parent table must have a primary key over there, right, with the matching data type, but the column name need not be the same. This concept is of utmost importance. So now if you open up the AdventureWorks database and if you expand your tables section, look at all the fact tables. We have been using the fact internet sales. Look at all these keys, FK. Now these are nothing but all foreign keys, and in turn these are related to other tables. So the product key is related to dim product. All this due date key, ship date key are related to the dim date table. Customer key is related with customer table, promotion with promotion, currency with currency, sales territory with sales territory, and so onwards. And the fact table itself can have a primary key like a sales order line number, but it also has foreign keys. What that means is the fact table always is at the center. Try to visualize the star schema model, and surrounding it will have all the dimension tables which are connected to it. And the relationship is maintained through that foreign key and primary key references, which tightly couples or binds these tables so that the database always is in a balanced state and there are no orphan records. If this was not to be implemented or such a concept was not there, then it would have been a violation of the integrity of the data, right? Or referential integrity. That's what we call. So this concept is of utmost importance. It's more of a theory first to understand as to why we need foreign key and what happens if you don't have it and how to implement it. My advice to you is don't get confused in the table names. It was quite simple that when we wanted to create the foreign key, we used the second set of table, which is sales turn 2 and products 2. I'll be sharing the scripts also. So that's all on the foreign key constraint. See you in the next video.